Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk about your international success as well as your upcoming Pride performance. It sounds like you've got a lot going on at the moment. How are you feeling with it all?
Yeah, I feel really good. It's a busy time, and it's an exciting time. Pride's a big deal, World Pride in particular, because it only happens every 4 years, and this year it's happening in Australia. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, sounds like an amazing opportunity, and I'm really stoked for you too, because Pieces is currently the most added dance track in the US. How does that feel like hearing that and knowing that?
It feels good. Yeah, it's a really good feeling. I mean, we hit number one as the most played and added song at dance radio across America, and yeah, it was exciting because I was right like sandwiched between David Guetta and Joel Corey, or I think it was, and I just didn't we didn't think we were going to go number one, but when we did, it was really cool. It was a good feeling considering it's like, yeah, tough to get that number one spot. So when we hit number one, we were really excited.
Of course. And once you hit it, do you find it's hard to maintain it, or how does it feel once you've actually hit that spot?
Um, you typically stay there for about a week or so. You don't. It's hard to stay there for longer than that. So, yeah, because everyone sort of gets their go, but it feels good. I mean, but it happens fast, and then you're already on to the next record, thinking about the next song.
Thinking of like the next record, because you've released another single since Pieces. Do you find it's hard? Do you find you try to compete with like your previous success, or is it really hard to do that follow up after this?
Um, to follow up after what? Sorry, the
So Pieces, like it's achieved such international success. Do you find it hard with following releases to try and get that same pattern?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, now it's like your next move, you always have to be careful and you think, oh God, which song do I put out next? And yeah, you always, when you do really well with a record, then you're like, oh no, is the next one gonna do as well? What's gonna happen? So I feel like every artist goes through that pressure when something does really well. Like it's good on the one hand, but then it's kind of set the bar high, and now you're like, oh God, my next record has to be just as awesome.
Of course. It sounds like a lot of pressure for you as an artist and a creative.
It is.
What do you think it was about Pieces that did so well to make everyone vibe with it and jump on board?
I think it's a really beautiful song. It's beautiful lyrics. When I wrote it, I wanted I don't know, just something really heartfelt and real and passionate. And I think the melody's great. I think the production's really, cool, and it just has that explosive, euphoric chorus, and it's a happy song, but not cheesy happy, like a cool happy, very very housey, very dance, but still commercial sounding. So I think it's got all the good elements that a pop leaning dance record should have. And then I just got a lot of support. All the program directors at radio across the US, they're big champions of mine. They've supported a lot of my stuff. So I was really fortunate because it was a combination of, I mean, they all, support me, and they've been big VASSY fans for a while, but it was also giving them a good record to want to add and be like, oh, I love this record. We're adding this. So it was just, yeah, everything fell into pieces, into piece. Yeah.
I love the pun. But yeah, I agree with you. It's got all the right elements. So it's a very it deserves all the success it's gotten. Do you recall where you were when you found out that like the success of this song and what you're doing?
Yeah, I was actually in Darwin. So when it hit number one, I was here, and I found out first through a fan, because I've got these diehard fans on Instagram, and my fan had literally messaged me the chart position, and I wasn't even allowed to announce it for a whole week. I had to wait. And so I was like, oh my God. Then the next day, I find out, like the next morning, when I was up, I found out from all the team in the US and the label in Europe, and actually I was getting a couple of emails from some of the radio program directors, like saying congrats on another number one and stuff. But yeah, that's how I found out. So I found out through a fan first before I even officially found out.
And it sounds hard having to like know that and not be able to like hold on to it for a week and not be able to be like, hey, we just did this. How did it feel having to sit on that for a week?
I so wanted to share it with the world and post about it, and I wasn't able to. So it was kind of you know, you just kind of want to go, oh my God, this song's got #1. But yeah, you have to sort of hold back and wait and do it when you're allowed to.
Yeah, of course. And I'm really excited to see you perform at Sydney World Pride. You've been a big Pride ambassador for a long time. What does it mean for you as an artist, but also the community for this performance?
I'm so excited to do this. I do so many prides every year. Like I just got booked for another 2 prides back in the US, and most of my pride festivals are all back in America. And I'm just so happy to finally do a pride festival in Australia, you know, for my Australian fans. And not only that, but for World Pride, which only happens every 4 years in designated countries. So it's a big deal. So I'm just really excited to go and, you know, perform for the fans and give them a good time and make history, you know, be part of the World Pride, because I don't know if we'll get another World Pride in Sydney anytime soon. I mean, a lot, you know, many years might go by before we get it again, and I might not even be around then. Who knows? So it's just one of those things. Like it's a real honor to be part of that. You make history just because it only happens every 4 years in different countries.
Of course.
And also, yeah, performing Pride for me is special too, by the way, because yeah, I've been an advocate for the community for a really long time, and I just, you know, I'm all for everyone having rights, equal rights, and being able to, you know, express themselves how they want and choose who they want to be with and choose, you know, who they want to be. And I'm just I've always been a supporter of that, like from day one, from a long time ago. Hey, I'm in the middle of thing. Yeah, give me a second. Sorry.
Yeah, it sounds great. I feel like everyone's going to come along, dance to it. I mean, I've been seeing all the stuff from World Pride at the moment. It looks like everyone's out there having a great time.
Yeah, it's wild right now. I've got some friends in Sydney, and Sydney's nuts at the moment. Like it's a lot of energy in the city.
Of course. Yeah, what people that are watching this and are keen to see you perform at World Pride, what can they expect from your performance there?
I'm gonna do all my big hits, all the big songs that everyone loves dancing to, and I'm gonna do pieces. It's just gonna be super high energy. And yeah, I feel like just come and have a good time. I mean, you'll know some of the songs, obviously, and just dance, you know, put your hands in the air and let yourself go, lose control and feel free and have a good time. And it's, yeah, it's short and sweet. I'm up there for like 20 minutes or so, and it's a wrap. So come down this Saturday. Like I'm on at 6:50 p.m. So at the Pride Villages stage on Oxford Street. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a really cool block party.
It sounds like it. I'm always tempted just to buy a ticket to Sydney so I can come see it now as well.
I know, it'd be so much fun. You got to come down.
Course. And it sounds like you've got so much going on between like songwriting, your releases, performing at Pride festivals. What does a typical day look like for you as a songwriter?
Well, it varies. In Los Angeles, my lifestyle is really different, obviously, to when I'm in Darwin. But it can really vary. Like if I'm in studio mode, I'll typically get up, and my mornings are always a little slow for me. I have to deal with emails and different things like that. Then I sort of get cracking and I head to the studio. And then I'm in the studio for most of the day until, you know, whatever it's done. We write the song, we cut the vocals. And then in the afternoon, I try to get out and go for a hike or something because I'm a nature girl, you know, having grown up in Darwin. That's like a studio day for me. And then, you know, maybe there's dinner with friends or dinner, you know, just with my husband, or just depending on what's happening in LA, like if there's events and things like that. I used to do a lot of that stuff back in the day. And now I just try to like play more of a low profile. But then when you're on the road, it's really different. Like when I go back, I'm going to be in Miami performing. You know, show days are very different. You're on the road, you're traveling, you go to sound check, you know, you show up, you do your performance. And then there's press days, which are different. And then there's photo shoot days, which, you know, you wake up, you got hair and makeup, you go to the studio and you just, you know, doing photo shoot all day. So it really depends. And then I have days where I'm not in the studio, because I also need days where I can, regroup with my team, my manager, and reconnect with other artists and producers, and just kind of talk about like setting up writing sessions. And then there's days where you're just in front of your laptop, just trying to like do more of the business side of stuff. So there's like, yeah, there's always something going on. It's always, yeah.
It's an incredible variety. It sounds like a bit of everything, and I guess when you're passionate about what you do, so I guess that helps. Busy days, but you're passionate, so it works out.
Yeah, I love what I do. I was born to be an artist, I mean, I knew I wanted to do this from when I was a kid in Darwin, growing up, going to St. Mary's. I was kicked out of school choir. I was told I don't have what it takes, that rejection was a huge redirection in my life, because many years later, of course, I blow up, I have success in Australia, then I have international success. It just goes to show you, when you're an artist, you're an artist. You don't have to be the best at anything. You're really an artist, and people are either gonna like your art or not. Like, people are gonna connect with you or they're not. And I think you just gotta authentically be yourself, and put in the work and believe in yourself and do it, because only you can. You're gonna get lots of rejections, and you just got to take them, and you've got to just stick to your plan, because if you compromise it, you won't make it happen, because it's a lot of perseverance to get that level of success that you want. A lot of young artists nowadays are asking me like, how do I do this? And I'm like, you really got to put in the time and the work. This stuff isn't going to happen like in 2 to 3, 4 years. It's really going to happen like in the 8th, 9th year of your career. Like, you really have to dedicate and apply yourself.
Of course, I think that's great advice and really helpful advice too. So I was going to ask you, like, because I'm from Darwin myself too, and how does it feel being back in Darwin and seeing like the local community scene after you've had all that international experience?
I love Darwin. So for me, I think at first it was a bit trippy coming back. I've lived in the biggest cities in the world. I've lived in Sydney and London and Paris and New York, and I've really lived the city life, and I've seen things, and like, I've done it all. I just really love Darwin. I'm a simple, nature girl. I love my sunset walks, my bike rides. I love my prep markets. I love my luxes. I love my lassies. I love playing with my dog. I love being out in the garden. Like, I'm really that type of girl. Over the years, I've had to kind of repress that side, being based in cities and really hustling, trying to make it in my career. And now, because I've had success and I can be a bit more relaxed, I'm obviously more comfortable in my career, and I don't have to like chase everything. That's kind of what you do when you're young. You're trying to make it. So I can pick and choose what I want to do, and now I can sort of embrace life more. So being in Darwin for me is awesome. Like, I really love it. I like to do dinners. I just kind of keep it low key here, and it's awesome. I mean, actually, like, I want to live between here and LA, and that's kind of what I've been doing. So I have my time in Darwin, and then when I'm in LA, I do what I need to do for work, and when I'm there. So
Yeah, Darwin's beautiful. I mean, it's one of those places that I feel like if I was in your position, I'd still come back to Darwin too.
oh yeah, you can take the girl out of Darwin, but you can't take Darwin out of the girl. So that's what I always say.
Exactly. And it's good to see artists coming back too, because I find the Darwin music scene is great, but it's very local too. As you know, people do like national tours, and Darwin's always a place that misses out. So it's good to see people like yourself coming back to Darwin where it all started for you.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. No, it's definitely good to come back. And you're right. I think it's rare, an artist like me with the success that I've had being a Darwin girl, and to come back. And I feel like a lot of music stuff is still very local based. Like, so it's interesting to see where like music has gone, but it is hard for people in the music scene up here, because it is remote, and it's tough for people to get access to those type of relationships, whereas like in LA, I can be in the studio and I meet so and so who's produced for all of uh, Jennifer Lopez or something, like, or just some big, like, you're just able to run into these people a lot more, and then before you know it, you're just around a different caliber of producers and songwriters and artists.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And I guess for anyone that is in Darwin, what advice do you have for them, like specifically in Darwin, to try to, I guess, because I've heard people talk about like going down south to try and start their music career. What do you think based on Darwin?
I think that it's possible to create here and do stuff, but I think that if you really want success in a market, you have to be based there on the ground because you've got to cultivate those relationships. And you really do. It's so much about, it's not just about talent, it's really about talent and perseverance and cultivating the relationships and a little bit of luck. But it's hard to do all that from here. I think you can still be based here, but I think you have to definitely spend time in the big cities, Sydney and Melbourne. I think you have to do that. You have to dedicate your time. And honestly, if you really want to make it, I mean, you might have to pick up and leave for a few years. Not to say that you can't from here, but it's difficult. It's even difficult if you're trying to be an international artist like myself. You have to go and be in America. I mean, really, that's where it's at. But not everyone's capable of doing that. Not everyone wants to. Not everyone's able to be away from loved ones and sacrifice that time. So yeah, it depends how ambitious you are. But you don't have to be that ambitious. Like if you really just want to be known in Australia, then I would suggest spending some time in the bigger cities just so you can make those connections. It's really important.
Of course, yeah. I guess connections are a big thing when it comes to the music scene. Yeah.
It is. It really is.
And what's next for you? It sounds like you got Pride coming up, which I'm really excited to see you at. And then like, are you doing any more releases or what's in the work for you at the moment?
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm in Sydney. I'm in the studio this week with some people. I've got, meetings. I'm going to see some of the other radio stations like Nova and iHeart. And then I've got Pride. I'm performing. Then I come back to Darwin for a couple of days and then I fly out to America. I'm performing the following week in Palm Beach, in Florida, Miami. And then I'm basically booked to do some more shows in the US and then in California, and then I'm just back in the studio, like working on new material. And I do have, new releases coming out this year. So everything's just getting scheduled and coordinated and lots of new stuff. I have a new release coming out on Friday, which I'm really excited about. It's this new song that I wrote. And there's lots going on.
Yeah, it sounds like an exciting time. And tell me more about this release. Like, what can people expect from the release on Friday that's coming out?
Yeah, so it's this new song called Supreme. It's part of an EP called Supreme, and this was one of the singles called Supreme. And it's just a song about it's self-empowerment, empowering women. It's really about being authentically yourself, believing in yourself. It's cool. It's got cheeky lyrics. It's got more of a pop, electro, indie, very quirky sort of electro dance song. And I worked on the producer that I worked on it with is Tim Myers, originally from One Republic. So yeah, it's cool. I'm excited about it.
And just in time for Pride as well, will you be performing it in Sydney, this one?
I won't do this one, no, in Sydney on Saturday. No, I've already got my show mix, and it's all my like big dance songs, and it's just basically like for the dance floor, get everyone up and dancing.
Yes, of course.
My visuals and things like that. Yeah.
Yes. And Pride's a perfect place to get everyone up dancing. Yes.
Oh yeah, you just need to go, hey, and then everyone's I mean, people are in a good mood, they're happy, they're celebrating, they're there for the same reason, everyone's on the same page. So it's a fun time. Prides are always a blast. They're my favorites.
Exactly. Well, thanks so much for that. Was there anything else you want to add about like the upcoming Pride performance or about, I guess, your upcoming music or anything about you that you want to share?
No, I think you covered a lot of it. Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Thank you. And I hope hopefully like now that I know you're in Darwin, hopefully I see you around Darwin sometime. It'd be cool to actually see you perform and get out there and dance to your music. It'll be great.
I know that would be great. Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, I mean, I'll be back next week just for a few days, but yeah, hopefully I can be back here soon and do a show for everyone. That would be awesome.
Yes, definitely. Cool.